podcast from Drew and Mike is, I think it's really cool, and that is what I wanted to say.
Two and a mic. Working on sustainability and the SDGs is something of a primary focus for me. I have for a very long time worked and argued in different ways for social justice, equality and respect. As the climate crisis became more and more evident, so did my need for understanding, engagement and education grow. As such, I have sought means and partnerships that will primarily teach me about many topics that are necessary in understanding the crisis, and then devising and learning methods to pass on what I have learned. A part of that process is what brought Benni and the Spirit of Football and I together. I attended a workshop in Erfurt where we worked on a new project called Future Ball, which seeks to enhance awareness of the UN Sustainable Development Goals through the platform of Spirit of Football and their fun-packed, innovative and educational workshop methods. Here I speak with Benni, who talks about the development of Spirit of Football, its history, its present, and its immediate future. Thank you, Benni, for your time. Good luck with your work, Spirit of Football, and I look forward to working with you all in the future. Enjoy. I'm joined today by Benni from the Spirit of Football. Benni, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Exciting times to work with Spirit of Football, and I'm really happy to be with you, Zach. Thanks for the invitation.
We met for the first time last week at your fantastic Future Ball workshop, which we will talk about, obviously, in a bit more detail later. But yeah, I mean, I've known about the Spirit of Football for some time because Lena has already experienced some of the workshops that you do, some of the work that you do, and so on. And it was just a fantastic opportunity. So I'm really happy that you were free to come and talk with me. Do you want to just tell us a little bit of background about the Spirit of Football and so on, and also how you got involved?
Yeah, my name is Benni Grunewald. I'm German, 30 years of age, and working for Spirit of Football, I would say since 2015. So Spirit of Football is a non-profit organization founded in in Erfurt in Germany, in the middle of Germany, and founded by like a crazy New Zealander. His name is Andrew Harris. Unfortunately, you didn't met him because he's on the move right now. He's in Cambodia at the moment. I will talk about that later, I believe. And Andrew Harris is a former professional footballer and founded in his master thesis the project Spirit of Football. So the most important thing is about fair play, teamwork, and respect. And he saw the lack of like this fair play aspects in this professional football, where it's all about money and like Neymar transfers with 22 million of viewers. It's crazy. And he wanted to come back to the basics of football, which is, of course, in the streets, you see it, the respect, the fair play aspects of football. And what he have done and evolved in this last 17, 18 years is to get into an education project about football in general. And since I would say 5 years, focusing on sustainability as a motto, and combine that with football, which we think is a really good opportunity. And also we'll talk about that later on. And after founding Spirit Football in 2005, it involved to like this kind of crazy little NGO. We have like 8 people working full-time for Spirit of Football, and that's what we do most of our time, is kind of doing educational work. We do projects, we do like refugee helping, kind of social workers in our neighborhood, and we do international workshops and projects all over the world. And all under the motto is one ball, one world, and that's why this is our focus. And we probably talk about that in a second. And that's what we came from, a little organization. Sometimes the people believe we are quite big, but as a matter of fact, we are only a little crazy group of people loving football and loving the fair play aspect of that. And not everyone loves football in our organization. It's more or less this coming together, this team play, this teamwork. That's why we say teamwork makes the dream work. And that's spirit of football, the spirit is what everything brings together.
Yeah, I mean, this is something which was really quite clear as well when I first met the group. At least it's that, okay, football's in the name, but it's the spirit which comes first, and you don't force the sport on anyone. What you really do is you use football simply as an established mechanism by which you can then introduce some of the other topics which are important. So obviously, as you said, fair play, but then as you've also taken on the SDGs, so all of the other sustainability targets, gender, you've got obviously environmental sustainability issues, and smart innovative industrialization, and some of these other topics. You brought them all together, and football is this vehicle which you use to promote these other topics. It's great the way that you've managed to unite these different elements in the way that you have.
Yeah, sometimes people are suspicious if this works, and if they talk about it, one of the core values or core methods we are using is fair play football, which is like a different sport, I would say. And Zach, you played it in kind of a small version, and unfortunately we didn't have the time to play it through completely, but we played this since 15 years already. So it's a great opportunity to play, and it's with different rules. Everyone is a winner, more or less. No losers, more to say. And it's a fun way. For instance, if somebody scores a goal, you do a celebration, and the goal scorer does like a crazy celebration, and everyone on the pitch, the opposite team, the own team, the fans, the referee, and even the people walking by should imitate this. Should imitate this celebration, and we have crazy celebrations then, and there's no discussion about what kind of mistake happened to, like, if you conceded that goal. So that's really helpful, especially with kids and youth, to do that. And yeah, we love that game. We always combine it with music, and that's like helpful to create like a fair play atmosphere, like a positive atmosphere. And that's what we're also promoting, kind of positive way of thinking, positive way of living. It's great to work with that, and it's a big honor for me to jump in that, to get to know Spirit of Football. For instance, I started 2015 with Spirit of Football, and I didn't know what to do actually with myself. I was studying a little bit, but I love football since I was a little kid. But then I came up with Spirit of Football. We have like a seminar at the university here in this little city, Erfurt. And during that time, 2015, 16, there was the like refugee crisis in Europe. A lot of friends came over, and we met a lot of people. And the first thing which we could do was offering football, and offering our home, our office, for like events, for cooking and getting to know and learning language. Because in German bureaucracy, it's kind of challenging for a lot of people to get to this bureaucracy jungle, to get to know, and how I even don't understand this language. It's a special language. So giving them the opportunity to come together to watch football, for instance, or cook, eat, listen to music, play music, that helped people a lot to find something here in Germany. And I would say like a lot of the people came to the 15, 16 met Spirit of Football. And because combining that with football, we offered football trainings. Still offering football sessions every week for men and also for women, from women. So that's what we are doing all day night in Erfurt. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you say, I mean, there's also this emphasis on fun. So it's positive, but it's not just positive. It's fun. It's engaging. People turn up, and you've got this sort of dancey element to it. As you said, this music, you get people to sort of come out of their shells, but in a very natural manner. And I found that to be really inspirational. And what was also interesting is, as you said, it's not just for boys and men; it's for all, all genders are welcome within the organization. And what's cool is this you have this real sense of a team spirit, even if people don't actually play football. They enjoy that spirit, that team element. So, I mean, what I miss most about football is the team, the guys you go to the pub with, and you enjoy that, the conversation, the argument, the passion, the fun, the jokes, and all of that. That's what I miss most about football. And I think you develop that atmosphere with all of the people who take part.
Yeah, thanks though. It's a kind of a compliment, Zach. I would say you definitely understood what our values are, and I'm really happy that we could transport that to you and to all the other participants. And I believe it's really important to be a positive role model in that. And we as Spirit of Football live that. Just not talking about sustainability, not talking about fair play. We try to be a role model for that. And it's also helpful in workshops if we give 150% in that, and it affects on the participants. And it's always like this, like 25% of the group is like football maniacs, 75% or maybe 50% doesn't like football at all, and 25 is like, okay, I watch the World Cups. But if we go there and explain that it's not about football, it's about fair play and teamwork, and also focusing on the SDGs and talking about important stuff, why it's important to do something for the climate, that combine that with football is a good tool. And it's a really fun way to talk about those topics.
In the workshop last week, you also mentioned that you adopted the SDGs a few years ago. So obviously the spirit of football existed before the Sustainable Development Goals were released or published in 2015. So what was it about the SDGs that you said to yourselves, okay, we want to take them on. We're going to make that a really big part of what we do?
Yeah, I believe, like a lot of people luckily understood now, is that it's 5 minutes before 12 in terms of climate crisis. And the best, we were thinking, what could we do? What could we offer? And what could we help to educate? And this is our main thing we could do, is education out of the school system. So we do external school education. And Spirit of Football came up with like a partner organization. It's called REN, and they are focusing only on sustainability. And we were mostly focusing on team building, fair play, getting to know, and which is also kind of part of the sustainability development goals in the social way, social sustainability. But having that partner, we kind of created new workshop content focusing on the SDGs, adapting our methods, which is team building, fair play football, theater methods, art methods. And for instance, sometimes we do like speed dating. It's called SDG speed dating, which is also a fun way to talk about those SDGs, because that's kind of our way to these SDGs starting in 2019. And we always say we are not the experts in terms of climate crisis, CO2 emissions, and what we could do, but we saw the importance of doing at least something. And we believe that education is the key. Education is the key to get everyone together, because education, if everyone knows about the crisis and knows what we can do, and we go there with some examples what everyone could do. And after mostly like it's 2 days workshops, we kind of pledge, everyone gives their own pledge to the climate, or to the planet, more or less. So if we sign that ball, we have a special ball with us. Everyone will sign their name on that ball, but it comes with a pledge. And this pledge could be little things, but we believe little things have also an impact. For instance, my pledge on the last 1.5 years is like only buying secondhand clothes. So this is my pledge, my personal pledge, and everyone has their own pledge. It could be like vegetarian, like go vegetarian 3 days a week, or be vegan half of the time, or get vegetarian or something. So Zach, can you tell me what your pledge was? You also pledged.
Yeah, well, I mean, I pledged that. I mean, I'm already doing some of these things, so for me, it wasn't too much of a difficulty. But to continue to reduce my meat consumption, and at the same time also to drink less cow milk. So I'm drinking oat milk, so Hafermilch, but also buy local or regional food products, buy organic products, buy products which do not come with 3 kilos worth of plastic packaging. So my pledge was to continue doing these things, and where possible to further enhance these things. So I think it's important, as you say, little things. And if everybody stops buying a certain product because there's so much plastic packaging, then the company which produces that good has to change the way that they produce their good, right?
Definitely, yes. Yeah. And what we're also trying to do is not doing like, you have to do that, you have to do that, and this is so important. We're also trying to show them how, like, often when we're working in rural areas, they have like regional products. They do a little good things for sustainability, but they don't even know. And in Germany, it's like this, that sustainability is always often have some negative aspects. It's in the media a lot. For instance, this people going on the streets with their fingers on the streets, and I don't know. It's always often negative seen, and trying to get them positive aspects of sustainability, because and with football you can catch them, and that's why we say it's really good to combine that.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, actually, because a lot of people are resistant to doing something for climate change because it's inconvenient, or it's an extra sacrifice, or but I want to be free to do what I want. I don't want somebody to tell me that I have to drive a smaller car, or I should get the train, or this. And so, as you say, for a lot of the time, people are a little bit resistant to this. But when they get involved, when they really see that, actually, okay, it sounds like a big sacrifice, but it isn't necessarily. It's actually quite easy to achieve. And then
it could be fun.
Yeah, but because you also get this feeling that you're contributing. You've got something to add to the argument. You're saying, I'm actually doing something that helps the planet. And and the way in which this whole thing is presented, as you say, you don't force anybody to do anything, but you educate, motivate, and inspire. And I think, for example, if you're running back to defend when you're on a football pitch, when your teammates say to you, come on, get back, you run that little bit more. And I think that's the kind of friendly motivation that comes out for other people to do, to take these little steps.
Yeah, working as a team also. That's how it is. If we combine a lot of things with the football pitch, and we have some methods also, having the positions on the field combined with how you act in terms of sustainability. But only as a team it makes fun. It's fun, and then we can continue. And also what we're trying to do at the moment is a project called The Ball. We are every 4 years on a big journey, and every 4 years since 2002 we do these journeys. We call it The Ball, which is more or less the Olympic torch of football, we call it. And every 4 years we go to the World Cup, 2002 to Japan and South Korea, 2006 to Germany, 2010 to South Africa, 2018 to Russia, and the last World Cup was in Qatar, as you might know. And for the first time ever, we decided to kind of change also our habits, and we were, as we said, focusing nowadays on sustainability as a topic. So where we could not go to Qatar. So we kind of boycotted Qatar, and it's the first time ever, because we're also focusing on SDG number 5, which is gender equality. We went to we are on the way to the Women's World Cup, which is in New Zealand and Australia at the moment. And it's kind of different than other journeys, because talking about sustainability and then traveling a lot doesn't make any sense at all, because as everyone knows, hopefully traveling causes a lot of CO2 emissions, has a big impact on the climate. That's why we kind of didn't have one ball. We normally have one ball with thousands of people signed their names on the ball. It's the first time ever we have kind of brothers and sisters of the ball. And we kind of send those balls via mail to partner organizations all over the world, and they could do their own workshops. We kind of guided them online, give them some tips and hints, but they should do their own projects. And they did like cleanups in Frankfurt, for instance. We did workshops, beach cleanups. We have some clothes exchange workshops, and it could be really different and diverse. And that's what we are doing right now. At the moment, we are kind of come back to the basics of the ball, because we are on the way to New Zealand, and we flew over, always compensate kind of. That's little things we could do, kind of compensating those CO2 emissions. But they are in Taiwan, in Cambodia, Bali, and on the way to New Zealand. So this ball will again make it to the World Cup, but for the first time ever to the Women's World Cup. And I was lucky enough to take part in the journey 2018, where we traveled 4 months from London, always London, the origin of football, towards the Football World Cup. And we went to Russia 2018. And I was lucky to be the main ball carrier. So I was sleeping with the ball, keeping an eye on the ball, and should hopefully not lose the ball. And yeah, if you travel with the ball and travel to so many countries where you don't even speak the language of those countries, but you speak the language of football, and that's what kind of where our origin is from the basics of football. And you see that in the journeys we did, and that's this power, this spirit we get in these journeys, and we take back to Germany, to our workshops, and trying to pass that energy on in Germany to students here, to get this positive aspects of football back. And if you compare it to other countries in the world, the football is such a massive thing there. In other countries, in Germany, I believe it's kind of diverse a little bit, because we have so many other sport activities. But we've been to like 25 African countries in the ball 2010 journey, and they live football. It's all over the place, and everyone speaks and plays football, even barefoot and this kind of stuff. I could talk ages about those ball journeys, but this is kind of little things we are doing. And every 4 years we do these journeys, but our main work is in Erfurt, in Germany. And education is then the key. But this is what stands out, what is like special for us, having those Olympic torch of football with us and talking about that. And at the moment, there's the journey. And if you like to follow that journey, for instance, on Instagram, Spirit of Football, we have amazing footage of us with the ball. Because if you walk around, you see that massive, it's like a regular football, but signed by thousands of people with colorful pencils. And everyone sees that ball, smiles, and want to sign the ball, or wants to understand that ball. And it's crazy story about that.
Yeah, I mean, there are, as you say, I mean, there's a lot of sort of social media coverage with regards to the work that Spirit of Football does, and also the ball voyages. So I will obviously put some links in the podcast notes, so that people can click on there and find you everywhere that you are. But I mean, this part of the travel that you do. So I mean, one of the SDGs is reduced inequalities, and one way in which people can achieve the reduction of inequality is by understanding diversity, by coming into contact with different cultures, with different ways, and different kinds of people. And so I think, even though of course there is an associated CO2 footprint with that, but you're also educating yourselves on how people perhaps work in Africa and the Central African republics, and the different kinds of, I suppose, cultural unique approaches that they have to the sense of community, to football, and so on.
Yeah, and also like, as I said, I was working for Spirit of Football since 2015, and during that time, a lot of people had, actually they still do have prejudices about refugees in general. And because we have refugees a lot from Syria, from Iraq and Afghanistan. And what we are doing is, like, a lot of people, who have prejudices never talk to a refugee, kind of. They never met a refugee or talked about them. And it's crazy thing that in the bigger cities where a lot of refugees are, the less prejudices are there. So, for instance, we have a method, it's called a module, Pictures in the Head. And we show a picture of someone. And for example, this is Ahmed, and in this picture, we only show the picture, and we ask the student group, or the participants, what comes into your mind? What's his name? What kind of music does he listen to? Is he engaged? How many kids does he have? Where does he come from? And how tall he is? And what kind of all the biography, what you can see in the picture, because you have your pictures in the head and all the prejudices. And they, like, for instance, some people say he's like a kebab man, for instance, something like that. And after that, we talk about where prejudices come from. Is it always bad to have prejudices? It's not. Everyone has prejudices, but you have to think of where does it come from, and talk about that. And when we finish that talk, and for instance, Ahmed comes in, and it's kind of this wow effect that they're like, what did we say? And it's a cool method to reduce these prejudices and also get to know a lot of people. And yeah, that's also what we're trying to do. And one of the core methods we are using is this kind of pictures in the head.
It's cool.
Yeah, and it also helped that we traveled to so many countries also for my view on the world, because I had the opportunity to work in refugee shelters and in so many countries. Yeah, I believe that we all also benefit from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just going to compliment that, the pictures in your head approach, because as you say, we all have these unconscious biases where we see something, and then before we even really have time to think, our mind has already made a biased association.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually, because everyone has that, and you can't shut down your brain, because it also helps to work, and that your brain works, kind of, you have to do that. But thinking of, is it really good, and what is it right, or what can we do against it? So one approach would be talking about those with these persons, and getting to know them. So yeah,
no, absolutely. And there are a number of statements that I've read from people from different cultures who say, look, if a child is on a bus and they see, for example, a black person for the first time, and the child says, oh, mom, look, that person's black. Then the parent, the father or the mother, should not say, shh, don't say that. They should say, yeah. And there are many different kinds of people on this planet, and and engage with them, talk with them, let them understand, let them develop. So we should open up the opportunities to communicate, rather than being afraid of difference, because we shouldn't be afraid of differences. We should embrace these differences.
Yeah, of course. And that's what we also say. It's like one ball, one world. Everyone on the world we are living on this one blue planet together. And we all drink water. We all, that's what our spirit is, and we should definitely be more open for everyone. And unfortunately, and especially in the recent years, it's I would say it's getting the wrong direction with all this Republicans and populists coming up. And yeah, but that's why we are trying to get a positive aspect of people. And yeah, you know, people are people and human are humans, and you don't see like skin color or see any backgrounds. And that's what's so cool on the football pitch, because you're 11 against 11, and it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter about your age, how much money you have in your bank account, or what car you're driving, and what. So it doesn't even matter, and it's a good thing. That's kind of the origins of football, and that's what we're also focusing on with spirit of football.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, as you say, I mean, I love this concept of one ball, one world. And you really drummed this into us at the workshop. And the workshop that we met at last week had a very specific. It's a kickoff. It was a kickoff workshop. Do you want to talk about the new project that you've got going forward?
I would love to. The project is called Future Ball, education and football in terms of sustainability. But it's a workshop as a project what we're doing in Germany, but all over Germany more or less. Because next year the European Championship will be in Germany. So after 2006, another big football tournament in Germany. And there, the DFB, which is the German Football Federation, is focusing on sustainability as a topic. And it said it should be the most sustainable tournament of all time. And also what they are funding is like workshops and education about sustainability in football. So I believe we kind of approached to them, and they said they're going to fund us. And so they funded this project, luckily. And the kickoff was last week, and I was really happy that you and other crazy cool people from all over Germany took part in that. And the idea is that we go to stadiums, for instance, in all over Germany. There's we have a cooperation with Lehrnordstadion, which is classrooms inside stadiums, inside Bundesliga stadiums, and we go there for one day in the stadium and one day in the school itself. And we're going to talk about sustainability in football. For instance, what this football club, for instance, RB Leipzig, big club not far from Erfurt, is doing in terms of sustainability. And we encourage the students to go through the stadium and see, is there any chance what we can do better in terms of sustainability? For instance, like heating, lights, LED lights, or some small things. And they should check that. And we also teach them about the impact football has itself, because football is the biggest sport in the world. Every week, for instance, the football, the World Cup is watched by, 3 billion of people around the world. The stadium capacity of Borussia Dortmund is 90,000 people, and every one of them has to get to the stadium somehow, by train, by airplane, somehow, and they're traveling, and this has a big impact on climate. And that's what I didn't know how big that impact is, and that if football changes, and if the football Bundesliga and big clubs changes too, so it has a big impact on also the people, on also the fans, because if they see what is possible and that football can play a role. And I believe that that every part of the world nowadays has to focus on sustainability, and also football has to play the role in terms of sustainability. And focusing on that, also focusing on facts, how worse we are treating the planet in terms of mobility, in terms of clothing, in terms of food, and also the impacts of meat consumption in general. And so we kind of focusing on facts, focusing on also team building, fair play, this kind of spirit football methods, which are kind of evolved in the last 15 years. And this kind of round up to a crazy 2-day workshop. With at the end having the time to have an open space for the kids to involve their own kind of little projects, what they should want to do in their environment. So, and then they're gonna sign a ball, which is kind of the future ball, which will travel through the European champion to Germany during the European Championship. So we're gonna do a bicycle tour to Germany, and yeah, getting everyone together, signing that ball, and it will travel to the opening, like the 12 cities, and also rural areas that everyone should take part in that. And yeah, I believe it's not only focusing on the big stadiums. So, for instance, we have an upcoming workshop in Germany in a little town, and we will go to like local football clubs, because also local football clubs can do something, can change their habits. And what is challenging, I would say, is like in terms of football, the fans, a lot of fans are really skeptical about sustainability in general. It's also my experience in my neighborhood here, and also with my club, that some don't think that's possible, that football can change, but we think it's possible. And for instance, little solar panels on the roof of your local football club can decrease the amount you have to pay for your energy, and this kind of little things could have an impact. We are getting there with some positive examples. For instance, part of that is like this kind of Forest Green Rovers from England, which is, they say themselves, to the greenest football club in the world. Also, like Guinness World Records said that. And there was one guy, part of that, he's kind of founded the Forest Green Allgäu, which is like a fan club, German fan club of that English football team. And also fan clubs could change the habits. And yeah, that was really empowering also for us to see that. I don't know what you think of Julian from Forest Green Allgäu. I was really surprised what their plans are.
Yeah, and I mean, he does, I think a lot of this is also on a voluntary basis, but
definitely, yeah.
I was very impressed, because I had never really, obviously I'm aware of fan clubs, and I'm aware that fans in some clubs have more influence than others. But what I was impressed with was this entire effort to bring fans to actually try to make a change, which is not simply related to the football club, but also related to the community, to society, and also, to the bigger project of sustainability. Because fans can make a very big difference directly themselves. I mean, at Forest Green Rovers, I think they introduced the food on match day. It's vegan or vegetarian, isn't it?
No, it's vegan.
It's vegan. It's completely vegan. So
completely
they don't sell
vegan,
any meat at Forest Green Rovers. A fantastic concept. And the fans accept it. Obviously, they're quite happy, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I have to be there one time. Luckily, the founder of, I don't know if he's the founder. No, he's kind of the brain behind Forest Green Rovers. He also signed the ball 2022 in London, I believe. But we have also examples in Germany, like Inter Berlin is example, or SV Babelsberg. They also only sell vegan food, and yeah, I believe it will take some time, but it's not always to show the good examples. It could also be that you have the option to choose the vegan option, for instance, in football clubs. And normally it's like this: you only have a price as a vegan option or vegetarian option. So it's in the football is a lot about tradition and traditional wise, and we do it like 100. We have to do it like the last 100 years. Yeah, but also we show that if we do continue like that, we can't play football in the next 100 years. Also in this atmosphere here in Europe. So it's gonna get hotter and hotter, and the pitches will get worse and worse. And we see that also right now, that there's big climate issues. Like, for instance, in like 1 year ago, we had this massive flooding in the southwest Germany, and also crazy. That will happen more and more often, unfortunately, and we have to deal with that. And yeah, there are even, I don't know the facts about that, but if we like spend a lot of money now on sustainability, it will get cheaper for us if we keep it like this, because the impacts of this crazy climate actions, for instance, floodings, heatings, probably cost us more money than it would cost now, despite its massive amount of money we have to put in there. And it's also, I would say, it's the politicians have to deal with that and have to focus more and more on that and how important it is to do something now, and not always say you as an individual have to do that, and also like big companies not only do greenwashing, also have to do some big impacts on that. And yeah, that's just one sentence about that. And yeah, sometimes kind of challenging for me to talk about that in English, but I believe you understand what I want to
You're
say.
doing a great job. You're doing a great job. I don't even have to say anything, Benny. But no, you're absolutely right. We need to obviously invest in systems which can allow us to be more sustainable when we encounter these kinds of weather, sort of extreme weather conditions and events. I mean, one example just to highlight what you said there. Nowadays, large office buildings come also with, a sort of a sprinkler system to help put out fires when fires are detected.
Yeah.
I mean, people could say, oh, but that sprinkler system, that costs an extra 200,000 euros. Why do we need to do it? Well, the reason why you need to do it is because if there is a fire and the entire building burns down, then the additional cost is what, 10, 20, 30, 40 million. Yeah. But the cost of bringing in something like a sprinkler system is a lot less than risking the danger of what happens. And I think this is comparable with this.
It is. Mm-hmm.
We, as you say, communities will have to deal with flooding, with hurricanes, with typhoon, with earthquakes, and with heat, obviously, all of these different environmental factors which can affect us. If we can introduce a cost investment which will help us to deal with those things now, as you say, the future, we will save a lot.
Unfortunately, it's like sometimes that's also when we talk about climate crisis, it's demotivating actually, and it's frustrating because all the scientists, like 99.9%, are totally sure that what we're doing is like little things we could do, and but that's why we are trying to say also positive aspects and trying to be positive and having hope. Even it's kind of challenging for us, and but it's important to do something right now, and the faster the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just one of the final SDG, number 17, is partnerships. And as you mentioned, in Germany, you are working with an organization called REN, but you've also got, contact, or you've established contact and relationships with other organizations too. So it's the SDG platform is a fundamental part of the way you do work. How easy is it for Spirit of Football to develop these partnerships? And I imagine it's once you've established these partnerships, I mean, from what I saw as well last week, it's really fun, isn't it? You live these partnerships with the people you work with.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what it should be about, because as you mentioned earlier on, we only have to, it's important to work as a team, and then it's more fun, and you get energy from those participants, and you give them energy from those partner organizations, and only as a team it should work, because we come back to this one ball, one world, or one ball, one planet. There's no opportunity to go to another planet. We only have that one planet, and we all have to work together on this big challenge we are facing right now, probably the biggest challenge humankind ever had. So to save that planet, because we all love this planet and love the nature, we love the animals and also the human people. And yeah, we see this is so freaking important to do that at the moment. And yeah, we do it with football because that's what we can do. We are not scientists, we are not experts in terms of climate crisis or climate facts, but yeah, it's urgent, and working with partners and also getting them on the right track. Because, for instance, this partnership with this Bundesliga stadiums, there's school classes called Lernortstadion. They do a lot of good work, a lot of stuff, but most of the content is not about sustainability. And that's also what my co-trainer said, Nadja, that it's not all about changing the content, but getting sustainability in this content, kind of as part of that, and focusing in every aspect. And because in every aspect nowadays, sustainability should be an aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes there are easy ways to introduce sustainability into projects, into the way organizations work. And sometimes it's a bit more fundamental. Maybe they have to change the entire organizational culture. Maybe they have to change their structure. Maybe they have to reroute some of their funding. Maybe they have to cancel some projects. A lot of organizations operate in different fields in different ways. And so the SDGs can either be easy or a bit more complex. However, the reality is that at some point we have to face those SDGs. We have to face the responsibilities which are looking at us. It's better if we make a decision to work together with other organizations and to solve these problems together, rather than waiting until it is too late and trying to bring something back when it's already passed. So this is really the issue, getting ready for what might come.
Definitely. And it's not enough to say working on technical solutions will help us through that crisis. We will definitely have to also focus on these technical aspects and what our progress can do, but also reducing our CO2 emissions right now is one of the major solutions of coming to a 2-degree target, so goal. But yeah, we don't know what the future brings, but maybe future ball will have a little impact on that. Hopefully in education, and hopefully in educate kids and youth about this topic, and that football can play a role in that, and doesn't always have to be negative and positive. And yeah, for the love of sport, we have to save the planet, kind of.
Yeah. And so just one final question for you. So, I mean, you've, as you mentioned before, you work outside of the school system, but also with school kids and so on. How can other schools contact you to try to either get a workshop going or, to get the discussion going with Spirit of Football? Or how can anybody contact you to try to understand a bit more about what you do?
Yeah, for instance, I have an email, which is really simple. My name is Benni, so benni@spiritoffootball.com, or de, doesn't matter, or on our website, spiritoffootball.de. This is a German website. Also, we have an English website from our colleagues from England. This would be the easiest part to contact us. There's a form you could fill out, and I would love to do workshops in your neighborhood, in your environment. Could be with a local sport partner, it could be with a school, and the good thing about that is it's for free, because we have that big funding from the DFB Foundation, so we could organize that, and we go there and do a 2-day workshop and to talk about sustainability in football. And yeah, hopefully they kind of create their own idea and own project out of this 2-day workshop, and we will talk about that in a couple of weeks later, if it had an impact. And even if it's just some facts about the climate crisis or facts about SDGs in general, is helpful, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're, if I'm not mistaken, you're about to go on a bit of a trip, aren't you, now somewhere?
Yeah, I'm lucky that because we have a long-term partnership with the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, which is a foundation in Germany, and we've been to Georgia 2018, and luckily they wanted to have us back, and we are taking a sister ball of the ball, which is currently on the way to New Zealand, and we will leave it in Georgia because we're gonna do like a 5-day workshop in Georgia with similar to the workshop you did in Erfurt. It's like a 2-day training of trainers and a 2-day workshop with youth kids. So those workshop participants in the TOT get to know our methods, and then we're gonna do like a 2-day workshop with kids, and they should also teach it. Kind of we supervise it. So kind of also what the idea we are doing, the methods we are doing. There's no copyright on that. We will try to spread it because we believe they're good methods and helps a lot of people. So if they want to use it, they could use it in their environment. And yeah, we're gonna do it in Tbilisi and in rural areas of Georgia. And we're gonna continue to travel to Armenia, and we're gonna do like a similar workshop in Armenia, again TOT and workshop also in a little town called Stepanovan. And I'm really looking forward to do that because I've never been to Armenia. I was lucky enough to be in Georgia because Georgia, the people are so nice. The landscape is incredible, and yeah, the hospitality of the people in Georgia is out of this world. And the wine is not bad, so it's a win-win. I've been there 2018, and it was probably the best country I've been on this journey, and I'm really looking forward to go there. And again, to say that because we are flying there, and also we're gonna compensate that with atmosphere, some at least little money to compensate. But yeah, as you might know, compensating is not enough, but it's at least the only thing we can do. And yeah, it's what we are focusing on the next 2 weeks. I'm flying on Sunday, or we are flying on Sunday, like 1 week in Armenia and 1 week in Georgia. So really looking forward to do that, and also doing this workshop in Germany and for the next 1.5 years. And yeah, keeping the spirit alive,
Fantastic. Yeah. And obviously there'll be videos and pictures of your trip in Armenia and Georgia on social media too, right? So we'll be able to follow you as you go.
Yeah, Spirit Football on Instagram, or Spirit Football on Facebook, YouTube. And yeah, you can follow us if you'd like, if you want to see my face, not only my voice. So
yeah, it'll be great.
Great.
Wonderful. Benni, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you're extremely busy, especially as you say, you're going on quite a long trip on Sunday. You've got to prepare for that. So I really appreciate your time. Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you in the future for more workshops and maybe some more podcasts too. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zach. I really appreciate your time. Also that you participated in that workshop. Hopefully we enlightened you a little bit and you learned a little bit of our methods, and you keep the spirit also true and stay on the ball. Have a great one, Zach.
2, 2, 2, 2, and mic.